Excuse me. Ugh, pardon the yawn. But welcome in, guys. We're doing a quick little live today. Um, Probably not going to be on too long, but just wanted to at least, you know, uh, get this bit of content out there, and may or may not have this be on the show tonight. It's never an easy week down here in Florida, that's for sure. Of course, the topic of today is going to be following up on our draft specials. Of course, anyone that's new to the channel, uh, one of the parts or reasons of this channel was, of course, our dream to work as a scout in preferably the Ravens organization, but of course any organization that would take us. And last year's draft special, of course, bore a lot of really good fruit, and we're kind of seeing a little bit of that today. What up, Sponge? So I spent yesterday just kind of combing through PFF and numbers, excuse me, and kind of following up on how our most recent 2024 draft special went. Honestly, for those that weren't paying attention to my Twitter and the posts and the content I was making at that time, I was very upset with the NFL this year. The combine coverage was some of the worst I've seen in years. They constantly cut away from drills to just show really bad content. Like there was one point where they were doing impressions, and both the commentators had no clue what the impression was of. One of them even got it wrong live on air, and it was just super awkward in the booth. And that's what we were cutting away. We were cutting away from football drills at the All Players Combine to do that type of content, and it was extremely frustrating as someone that's always watched the Combine. It just made me feel some type of way, you know what I'm saying? But I have the defensive side pulled up first, so that's, of course, where we're going to really start here. Of course, when we go through this a little bit, you got to remember, a lot of these guys I really liked. There's a lot more guys I like. And no matter how the draft board falls on that day is really how it turns out. I had some misses my first year, but I had a lot of really good hits. I, however, wanted to make my special. I found that I had too many third rounders, guys that I liked, guys that were in my draft special that went third round. And while, of course, the special is designated for third through seventh specifically, I wanted to try and space that out a little bit, just because in a certain sense of this is playing GM. And when we play GM, third round picks are still pretty valuable. It's not till fourth and fifth that we start losing that value on the point system. We of course saw Rook or Horo go in the second round. So some honorable guys mentioned with Jordan Jefferson, I believe out of LSU. Jaden Crumedy, I believe, was out of like Mississippi or Ole Miss. Mason Smith, I think, was another LSU guy. Of course, he's 8th. We have him listed here. Mason Smith on our PFF numbers. 8th rookie with a 55.0. Of course, he is on IR. I think he had actually ended up over there on the 49ers, if I'm not mistaken. Guys we really liked, but, he might go too high or just missed out a little bit, on other guys we liked. So one of our first guys we really liked, Michael Hall Jr., the Ohio State Buckeye, ended up drafted in the second round, 54th by the Cleveland Browns, currently on IR. Wasn't playing bad football for them. That's just, a pretty bad organization this year. Second round, little too rich for my blood, but we always see those guys sneak up and, really liked him as a third rounder. 6 on the rookie list without the minimum snap. So that's one thing to key on here, guys. You're going to hear often. It's either like without minimum snap requirement or with minimum snap requirement. PFF can separate the two, and whenever they meet the minimum snap requirement for the general grading system, they then can be placed on the overall list. So you're going to see some of these guys, you're going to like this 6 rookie without minimum snaps. That's pretty good, but again, we like guys that really play a lot of snaps. 62.6 overall on 101 snaps this season for a rookie coming in on that Cleveland line. That's really not too bad. Again, picked a little too high for my liking. Of course, we mentioned some of those other LSU kids. This was another guy that he was just a little small when he was working out on that defensive line, but he really did show good quickness and just like a twitch. That's Mekhi Wingo, drafted in the 6th round, pick 190 by the Detroit Lions. 58.1 overall with 156 snaps. 5th overall rookie with a 20% minimum snap requirement. Again, seeing pretty good snaps with Detroit. I don't know if he dealt with injury issue early, but of course with Hutchinson and all the other injuries going on there in Detroit, he's starting to see an increase in snaps. Really hoping to see more out of that young man. Of course, Logan Lee, one of my absolute favorites of this draft. Really liked what I saw from this young man. Drafted in the 6th round, pick 179 by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Unfortunately, though, one just like Corey Trice over there, ended up on IR. So sadly, no data on him. We're looking out for him next year. Of course, one of the smaller school guys, Christian Boyd, the 6'4", 317-pound defensive tackle. Played a lot of snaps in college, of course, at the FCS level. Drafted 6th round, pick 200 by the New Orleans Saints. He's tied 16th for rookie without snap minimum. 59 point overall and 74 snaps. The Saints definitely have had some issues here and there. But he was always a guy that was going to need a year more than likely. But it'd be like that. Of course, Tavondre Sweat, one of the other guys that really crept up into the 2nd round, pick 38. A lot of people were really critical of the Titans for this pick. But I'm telling you, man, big man moved at the combine, and I really didn't hate the pick. He's 1st overall rookie with minimum snaps, which not a lot of guys even hit the minimum snap requirement. And he's rated as the 21st overall interior defensive lineman by PFF overall, not just among rookies. 70.5 overall PFF on 409 snaps. That's more than 4 times the amount of snaps anyone we've seen so far. I'd absolutely be happy with that from my 2nd round pick starting. I know a lot of people might have been really critiquing the Titans for that, but they're the ones laughing now, and he's looking good, man. If you could have picked him up in the 3rd, it would have been a steal of the draft. Of course, my boy Tyler Davis starting to get a little more, I think, snaps over there in LA dealing with. And what's funny is he's still leading with tackling. We talked about it in the draft process. This kid was a sure tackler. If he got his hands on you, he was going to get you down. And it's even there on our stat line. Black stats are from the special, red stats are new stuff. As we mentioned, he's one of 18 guys with 0 missed tackles in that draft class. Ended up being draft 6th round, pick 197 by the LA Rams. 6th rookie among the class with 20% minimum snap requirement. 58.1 overall. He's got to work on some stuff, but his tackling is 2nd in the class, and his pass rush is 2nd in the rookie class as well. Didn't actually expect that pass rush from him, so I'd definitely got to go look and see what he's been doing tape-wise. Edge rushers, of course, there was a couple guys we were keeping an eye on. We talked about some of these guys with really good pass rush win rates during the draft special. Gabriel Murphy, one of those guys, UCLA. Taking note, too, of course, some of the guys with longer arms that got drafted, like Dallas Turner, Robinson, Watts from UConn, and Cole from Texas Tech. Why is it cutting off part there? That's weird. Austin Booker, though. Let me see if I can do that. There we go. drafted 5th round, 145 by the Chicago Bears. He's tied for among 7th for rookies, and again, with snap minimum. So a lot of guys not even meeting that. 93rd overall edge rusher out of like approximately, 32 teams, 2 edges at minimum per team, 64. Not great, not bad. Surprisingly, he's got a 69.8 coverage grade on 183 snaps. So actually been playing some decent coverage, I guess, for a rookie out there in Chicago. Of course, and that's crazy. On the presentation, it's cutting it off. I wonder. That's why. There we go. And then we need to reset. Booyah. There we go. Javon Solomon, one of those Troy guys that I really liked coming in this draft. Drafted in the 5th round, 169 by the Buffalo Bills. He's 2nd overall without a snap minimum. 82.1 overall, 90.7 pass rush. That's first among the rookie class, but very limited. 43 snaps out there. Hasn't really gotten a chance to do much yet. But I mean, on 43 snaps, I'd absolutely be happy with that as a 5th round pick. He's got true talent potential to develop behind Von Miller up there in Buffalo. Mohamed Kamara, ended up drafted 5th round, 159 by, and again, a lot of these guys like 5th round, oh yeah, 6th round, oh yeah, like definitely. 19th overall rookie without snap minimum. He's only had 21 snaps. Had some good pass rush snaps in those, but he's basically been a situational piece over there in Miami. Hopefully he'll get some more looks as the season goes on. Solomon Byrd, the USC product, ended up drafted 7th round, 238 by the Houston Texans. They brought in some guys in the free agency, of course. Danielle Hunter, I think, leading the league in pressures, if I'm not mistaken. So working out pretty well for them over there. He ended up on practice squad. I'm excited for some of these linebackers. Jeremiah Trotter Jr., the other Clemson linebacker, drafted 5th round, 156 by the Eagles. He's only played 23 snaps, played some decent football. I think he's starting to... I saw Nakobe Dean has been playing outstanding over there in Philly, actually. Recently. But Jeremiah Trotter in that 4th overall rookie without snap min. Again, not a lot of linebackers in this class, to be honest with you. Trayvon Wallace, better than I expected. Of course, he's playing in Carolina Panthers, which has been a really bad defense. Drafted 3rd round, 72 by the Carolina Panthers. 54.9 overall grade, not that great. 60.4.4 in coverage. That's what we would have drafted him for. Played 435 snaps. That's a lot of snaps as a rookie. He's the 4th overall rookie in this class and the 68th overall linebacker in the NFL. I mean, that's not bad on a bad Carolina defense, and linebacker is hard to step in that first year and play well. You know what I'm saying? Especially in the coverage game. Usually that's where the younger linebackers struggle their first year. So pretty good what we've seen out of him so far. Michael Barrett had a crazy ride. So the Michigan linebacker was drafted 7th round, 240 by the Carolina Panthers, traded to the Seahawks, cut by them, signed by Cleveland. And I think he's cut now? Not sure on that. He had a very specific skill set. Very specific, and that's it. Really surprised he didn't end up on a special team somewhere. Jordan McGee, really liked what we saw out of him. The Temple linebacker, drafted 5th round, 140 by the Washington Commanders. Only played 1 snap, though. Only played 1 snap. But he is getting a lot of special teams practice. He's had 1 regular defensive snap, but he's played over 50 special team snaps between punt return, kick return, punt team, and he's just played every side of it, basically. So good to see that he's at least, getting the special teams. Dallas Gant went undrafted, signed to Philadelphia. I believe he's currently on the Eagles practice squad. One of those guys coming from a smaller college definitely was going to need some time to grow. One of the favorite things we liked about him, though, was he was #1 in snap count. Dude played a lot of football, and he had a good coverage grade at the lower level. He's almost got more of a safety size, so again, going to take some time, but as you can see, Peyton Wilson played 715 snaps at NC State, the guy who just had that crazy interception on my Ravens. Dallas Gant played 940 snaps. So either way, could be a good special teams player in the future as well. Looking forward to seeing what he got. What's funny is I think Raheem Blackshear ended up on another team, might have been playing a different position. Marcel Darius got drafted. Jarian Jones, Isaiah Johnson, all honorable mention type of guys. But of course, the 49er fans know the first guy on my draft special very well. Drafted at the very end of the second round. What's funny, in so many of my mock drafts where I ended up trading out of the second round, he was one of the few guys. I'm like, he goes third round every time. I'm like, you might have to. And they, of course, the 49ers end up using the last pick of the second round to take him. 79.2 overall grade on 298 snaps. Again, with snap minimum, not a lot of things rookies are doing. He's the second overall rookie and 6th overall corner in the league, according to PFF right now. When will the next Jackbox stream start? Not sure. Possibly Friday, but not sure, my guy. Of course, Chris Abrams-Draine ended up drafted by the Denver Broncos, 5th round, 146. No snaps. He's 3rd on the left cornerback depth chart. Of course, they've got some really good cornerback play going on over there, and I can see Sean Payton. If you don't know the defense, you don't get to play. He might take a year to get his shot, maybe, but I'm looking forward to seeing him maybe get some nickel snaps in the next year. The Louisville product, Jarvis Brownlee Jr., drafted 5th round, 147 by the Tennessee Titans. He's got a 56.2 overall grade. Played 478 snaps, so he's getting a lot of playing time over there in Tennessee. 14th overall rookie, 86th overall cornerback, so 86 out of basically 64. I mean, technically, you can make an argument that you really should have the 3 per team. So what's 3 times 32 is what, 96 technically. So 86 out of 96 basically, or 92 starting corners. Not bad for a rookie. Not bad for a rookie. You know what I mean? Chaw Smith Wade, he's one of the ones that made me eat my cornerback room a little bit. Drafted 5th round, 158 by the Carolina Panthers. He is the 3rd worst overall rookie cornerback in the class. 36.5 overall grade on 130 snaps. You know, and what's funny is I thought it was Deontay Banks last year from Maryland. Ended up being my corner bust of that draft. Really got taken advantage over there in Oakland, probably like on the 130 snaps for the Panthers. Smith Wade was this year. But I think he's played better this year. I'd have to go back and double check, but Malik Mustafa was one of the guys. So again, a lot of these guys, there were tons of guys that I really liked, but I knew were going to go in the 3rd round, and just for that reason, I kind of took them off my special. Because like I mentioned earlier in the draft special, last year I had too many guys taken in 3rd round, which again, the special's made for 3rd and later, but I wanted to try to find more guys drafted throughout. You know what I'm saying? So, Cam Hart drafted 5th round, 141 by the LA Chargers, 63.9 overall on 349 snaps. 10th overall rookie, 57th overall cornerback. That's an absolute. I love this kid. I couldn't believe he fell out of the 4th round to the 5th. To be honest with you, I took this kid almost every mock draft in the 4th round. And again, even if you're considering only 2 cornerbacks starting on every team, that's 64. He's ranked 57. He is a starting level caliber corner that was found in the 5th round, playing for the Chargers. Love to see it. DJ James, drafted 6th round, 193 by the Seattle Seahawks. He's currently on the New England Patriots practice squad. Really thought this kid had some potential, kind of like Ricardo, but it all depends on where you end up going. You know what I'm saying? Kamal Haddon, drafted 6th round, 212 by the Kansas City Chiefs. They let him go. Currently on the Green Bay Packers practice squad. Of course, there's Malik Mustafa as my honorable mention, a guy I absolutely loved, but when I looked at it, I tried to predict like 3rd through 7th. Like my first guy or one of my guys going in the 3rd, one of the guys going in the 4th, to try to break it down more. And again, like I mentioned, there's so many guys I love, and it all depends on what your team needs, how the board falls. Like Kalen or Mustafa was my honorable mention that I wanted to have on. But again, and also the hard part is after my first draft special, I was on for so long. So I was trying to reduce my time and not cover as many players. Kalen Bullock, drafted 3rd round, 78th by the Houston Texans. He's the last overall rookie, but at the same time, he's 85th overall, which again, not terrible. He's had a bad year on, I believe, in his I don't even think it's his coverage as much as they gave him a pass rush stat. 47.0 overall, but he's got a 71.4 run defense grade on 596 snaps. That's the highest snap count I think you might see on the defensive side. I think offense might have some 600 snapper guys. But again, Kalen Bullock, 596. That's the 2nd most among all the rookies. The only other guy I think that has more is Evan Williams, the safety, of course, starting over there in Green Bay, being part of that dynamic duo safeties in Green Bay, actually. I did like Tarheeb still. Again, a guy that just I felt a little burned by Banks last year as well, to be 100% honest. Bullock, though, I'm really excited to see him grow with the Texans. Cameron Kitchens, I think he actually had a clutch safety for the Rams the other day. Drafted 3rd round, 100 by the LA Rams, 59.8 overall, 63.0 in coverage grade, though. He's the 5th overall rookie and 56 overall safety. So again, technically, that's a starting safety. If you consider at minimum 2 safeties per team, 32 teams, that's 64 safeties. Absolutely ecstatic for the young man. He had a really bad year last year in college, where if he'd been able to come out a year earlier, he'd been a 1st-round pick. Saw him all over the boards on mock drafts, all over the boards. 3rd round was really good. If you could have got him for a 4th and a 5th, that would have been outstanding. But 3rd round, pick 100, that's later. That's at the end of the 3rd round. Yeah, absolutely. Every time. Keaton Oladipo might have been. I might have mistyped that. Drafted 5th round, 170. They doubled up at safety. Actually, I think they tripled up on safety, if I remember that draft correctly. 170 by the Packers. Hasn't played many snaps due to an early injury. He's listed as the 3rd free safety. And as we mentioned earlier, his fellow rookie Evan Williams is the starting strong safety over there and playing almost at a damn near Pro Bowl level, number 1 across the boards. Tyke Smith is an interesting one. So we mentioned in the draft, you might not be able to see it because it's not zoomed in. He was 10th in coverage slot snaps. So listed as a safety, but basically played a lot of nickel corner down at the box. Ended up drafting 3rd round, 90th by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which I thought might have been a little too high for him. I'll be honest, when I first saw the draft, but damn, made me eat my words on it. 72.7 overall grade, 86.0 run defense grade. He's listed as Tampa's starting slot corner. So when you go to PFF, he's actually under the corner stats instead of the safety. 4th overall rookie, 21st overall corner in the league. Definitely getting their money out of them. Between Renardo and Tyke, Omar Brown, I think he actually was on the Ravens for a while, but currently on the Green Bay Packers practice squad. They transformed their entire secondary. They spent this year drafting defense and the year before really worrying on the offense, and they've turned their team around. They're one of the youngest teams in the league. All right, and so I'm going to quickly switch this to my offense, and we're going to run through the offense one as well. If it actually starts. There we go. So, of course, quarterbacks has got to be one of the hardest ones to predict. Here's where I just, on the right is just a bunch of different stats that we were talking about, yada, 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 yada. Who is the better deep passers? Who had more play action? Who is the better intermediate, short passing? Who was better under pressure? We talked about Caleb Williams' turnover worthy percentage plays. Just a lot of good stats we came across quarterbacks, because quarterbacks is always going to be way harder to find the later guys. I still feel like one of my favorite guys in this draft never got a shot, but I'm sure NFL scouts know way more than I do, and there's a reason why he didn't go anywhere. He got an invite, but that's about it. He was a camp arm. Of course, we started with Spencer Rattler, drafted 5th round, 151 by the New Orleans Saints. I didn't put that up there, but we know that. He's had 119 dropbacks this season, 55.9 overall. I think he won a game for him, which, I mean, if you can have a guy come in and at least win you a game, that's a dub for a 5th round quarterback in a rookie year. But, of course, not the best from what we've seen from him, but we already knew that he needed time he had some mechanical issues, decision making, but he might work in that New Orleans offense. Of course, Devin Leary, the guy that watching him throw was everyone was like, you know what? Like Mike Tomlin says, don't back down from a coaching challenge. Yes, he's had some decision making problems, really bad ones. And of course, he's had some accuracy issues from mechanics. But dude's got an arm cannon, can whip the ball. And even at the combine, Daniel Jeremiah was like, you know what? Just watching him throw and how good he looks throwing naturally, like to these guys that he hasn't practiced with, makes you really think about going back and watching some tape on him, which is what the Ravens did. They didn't watch his Kentucky tape, though. They went back and watched him at NC State, which is a very different system than the system that Kentucky changed to. Of course, currently on the Baltimore's practice squad, drafted 6th, 219 by Baltimore. This was my guy, Gunnar Watson, the quarterback from Troy. Man, I thought this kid had it. I thought he had potential. I thought he was a leader. I don't really know the kid that much, but just from what I saw and the tape and the numbers, I was like, he's not going to work in every system. Like, let's be honest here. But if you have a strong run game and can run a strong play action game off of it, I think he can be your guy. We saw some of these other Troy players, Kamani Vidal, Javon Solomon. Don't get it twisted. Troy had some NFL talent. We haven't seen much of Kamani Vidal, which we'll get to that here in a little bit. But some of these Troy guys could ball. So, whatever. John Rice Plumlee was undrafted free agent, signed by the Pittsburgh Steelers, was a fan favorite because apparently he was returning kicks in camp as well. Didn't make the roster. Apparently he's on, I think, Jacksonville Jaguars practice squad now. One of the guys that popped across us when it came to the pressure numbers. Of course, he had guys like Javon Baker out there who got drafted as well. We'll see. Jack Plummer, undrafted. He's on the Panthers practice squad, I believe, currently. So not a lot of wins in the quarterback department, but it's always like that. Wanted a quick shout out when I went to the running backs. Highest elusive rating this year, Tank Bigsby and Bucky Irving. Highest breakaway percentage, Derrick Henry and Tank Bigsby. Tank Bigsby, Tank Bigsby. Sounds familiar? That's one of my names from last year. Of course, running back notes. We had tons. Running back was one of those ones where I loved the running. I always find so many running backs later in the draft that I fucking love. Love. Frank Gore Jr. loved him. Blake Corum has a certain system that he works. Bucky Irving, absolutely loved him. He was one of the guys that I wanted to put on the special, but just missed out. Same thing with Braylon Allen. Marshawn Lloyd as well. Isaac Guerrero. As you can see, a lot of honorable mentions. Guys that I really wanted to talk about. Like case point, and then we have the zone run attempts, gap run attempts, basically who ran the most of each type of system, missed tackles, forced elusive ratings, and of course, who had the highest elusive rating in this draft class? Bucky Irving. Sounds familiar, don't it? It's just that easy, as simple as that. So honorable mentions, Bucky Irving, fourth round pick, first overall rookie running back, sixth overall on the entire NFL. Braylon Allen, another fourth round rookie. He's number 2, 25th overall in the NFL grades. Of course, has nearly as many snaps. But they're doing pretty well. Doing pretty damn well, that's I would say. Really wanted to focus on the running back class, on trying to find those later guys. Kamani Vidal drafted 6th round, 182 by the Chargers. He's buried behind that depth chart. I think he had a fumble too, which was very costly. He's 4th. Of course, behind J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards. And then the third guy, whatever. 61.3 overall grade on his 56 snaps, though. So not great, not bad, but it's just one of those ones he's going to take some time to just even get to the surface of that depth chart. Jaden Sheridan had no chance. Undrafted, signed to practice squad of Carolina, but with them having Hubbard, signing Miles Sanders, and then, of course, drafting Jonathan Brooks, and then I think they signed even more free agent guys. This is one of my guys. I don't think he ever got a fair shot over there in Carolina, but he already was a smaller guy that might have maybe just had more special teams focus than anything. Of course, Ray Davis drafted 4th round, 129 by the Buffalo Bills. He's the 3rd overall rookie, 26th overall running back in the NFL, 73.0 overall grade and 140 snaps. I think he had a costly fumble too, not too long ago. Imani Bailey, really liked him. Imani Bailey and Tyrone Tracy Jr., in my opinion, I had in a very similar category for their running styles in this draft. Of course, Tyrone went to the Giants. Imani Bailey, undrafted, currently signed to the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't know if he's on active roster or practice squad, actually, to be honest with you. Isaiah Davis, one of those guys, it broke my heart when I saw him. I think he went to the Jets. Yep, drafted 5th round. But, of course, they took Braylon Allen earlier in that draft, already have Breece Hall. It was one of those ones, the moment I saw him get drafted by the Jets, I kind of was upset because I knew he was just like Kamani. He was not going to really get any chance to grow this season at all. 62.1 overall grade, 79.7 receiving grade, only on 6 snaps, though. He is at least doing some kick and punt return duties. He's actually the 31st overall kick returner currently in the NFL. So good to see him at least getting the special team snaps and getting some reps there. Audric Estime, really, I want to see him get some more snaps over there in Denver. Drafted 5th overall, 148 by the Broncos. 58.2 overall grade, but a 74.8 receiving grade on 63 snaps. And that's one of the things I talked about, was underrated actually at catching the ball. And yeah. Of course, Dylan Lobb. Oh, I forgot to finish his slide. If I'm not mistaken, he's on the Las Vegas Raiders. Only has 1 snap, which I'm pretty sure he fumbled on. 29.0 overall grade. Just after that fumble, man, the kid never even got a chance. So, a little unfortunate. Man, this white is killing my eyes. Ben Sinnott, drafted 2nd round, 53rd by the Washington Commanders. As you can see there, absolute reach on this kid. did not like the pick. 55.1 overall, 63.1 run blocking on 206 snaps. Fifth rookie, 55th overall. So he's not playing bad ball for the Commanders. He's played a pretty good amount of snaps, but highest was third for me. I really liked Senate closer, like fourth or fifth. But I mean, again, playing pretty good ball. Can't be too upset about it. He's learning behind Zach Ertz. So really going to keep an eye on more on Senate next year. He might make me eat my words. Theo Johnson, a guy that was not ready to start in the NFL, absolutely killed me what happened there. So, of course, drafted 4th round, 108 by the Giants, 51.4 overall grade. He's played 582 snaps. He's the 62nd overall tight end. That's not even starting caliber. Or if you consider 2 tight ends, it's barely, but a lot of teams barely use 2 tight end sets. Of course, the presumed starter was supposed to be Darren Waller for the Giants. He retired before the season, which then thrust the 4th round pick from Penn State into a starting role, hence the 582 snaps. He was a super athletic guy that really needed some time to grow and figure it out, kind of like Zach Kuntz from last year, who's balling out for the Packers. And Darren Waller I feel like was going to be a great mentor for him, because Darren Waller is a very athletic, tall tight end. Just felt like similar styles. With Theo probably actually being a little bigger and stronger than him. And I think it's going to make him look bad this year. But hopefully the young kid can, and again, you never know the mindset of all these dudes. It's always on them to grow. But I think the snaps could help him next year because playing a lot of football. Of course, A.J. Barner, we talked about him, was one of the best run blocking guys in this draft class. Drafted 4th round, 122 by the Seattle Seahawks. He's got a 61.0 overall grade on 316 snaps. He's the 2nd rookie tight end, of course, only behind Brock Bowers. What up, Sentinel? Who, of course, is the number 1 tight end in this draft class. He's actually ranked 45th overall, so just outside the top 32. But again, more of a blocking guy that had to develop into a better pass catcher and route runner. I think Seattle's probably pretty happy with 4th round, what they've gotten out of him so far this season. Cade Stover, we've seen a good bit of him down there in Houston. Drafted 4th round, 124 by the Houston Texans. 50.7 overall grade, 63.0 run blocking on 287 snaps. 63rd overall tight end. So if you're looking for the 2 tight end, he's at least in the top 64. Not bad for that 4th round pick. Wide receivers, again, tons of guys I loved in this class that I wanted to talk about. Cephas, Baker, McCaffrey, Brandon Rice, Taj Washington, Johnny Wilson. But of course, we're going to start with one of my number 1 guys, Jalen Coker. If you weren't watching the draft special live, if you weren't watching my combine coverage live, Jalen was a guy, and just like my draft special, not from last year, but 2 years ago, the 2023 draft special, there's a lot of stuff that I look at statistics and numbers, and then I go look at their tape. But there's some guys that I watch them live, at the combine throughout the day, from their 40 to every route they run. And just body language, demeanor, how they attack the drill, mindset, a bunch of different things. And some of those guys get added to my draft purely based off of, I didn't watch any tape on Jalen Coker. I'm going to be honest with you. None. Maybe a little bit at the end before I made the draft special. But Jalen was a guy that I watched, and I said, this guy's got the mindset to be a professional. You can see he's hungry. He wants this, and he's got the tools. And he is. And the thing is, he's listening to the coaching staff that is at the combine. When he runs over, and I can hear the coaching staff chirping at him about route depth and this and how to come out of the break. And then the very next drill, he does exactly what, and while other guys are just running how their school taught it, like the running backs are the ones that are if you go back and watch the combine, mark my words on this. The ones that are the worst at this are the running backs in the pass catching drills. All of them are running the same route different ways. And it's because, as we know, every playbook, every coach, every system has a little things that they like to do different, for their timing, their progression, whatever. But at the combine, these coaches are telling you how their team wants it, and it might not be the same. The running backs will run half of their routes so lazily. And I'm telling you this, I don't care how good you are, if I see you just lazily running through these drills, very entitled attitude, it's not going to take away from your film, but it will put a little seed of doubt in the back of my mind about the draft pick and the future. That could all be dispelled away pretty easily, but Jalen was one of those guys that proved it to me. And we've seen it. Undrafted, got signed by the Carolina Panthers. Abysmal quarterback play. Coming back, finally getting his snaps. 77.2 overall grade, 200 on 223 snaps. He's the sixth rookie out of 18 and 25th overall wide receiver in the league. He's a starting wide receiver in the league. Not even out of the 64, out of the top 32. And he went undrafted. He's like my Keaton Mitchell from last year, man. You just see it, and you're like, there's no fucking way, right? Like, Malik Washington, absolutely love this kid. I could not believe this kid fell to the 6th round. Could not believe it. And then, of course, Miami just went and picked him up. 6th round, 185 by the Dolphins, 55-point overall. Actually, 71.6 run blocking on 141 snaps. Good to see, dude. The dude is violent, apparently. And that's what I love to see. He's also getting his kick return and punt return duties a little bit here and there, which is a great way for him to get his intro into the league. I think he's going to be part of that Miami future wide receiver core. Of course, Jacob Cowing, the target monster. Absolutely love this kid coming out of Arizona in college. Drafted 4th round, 136 by the San Francisco 49ers. He's got a 72.6 overall grade, albeit only on 33 snaps, so hasn't played a lot, but he's also doing some punt return duties. He's the 21st, and I guess kick return as well. Yeah, punt and kick return. He's the 21st best kick returner with minimum 20% snaps. That's not rookies. That's overall in the league. And then the 31st overall punt returner in the league. So again, showing his explosiveness, his ability to make people miss. Bright future for the young man. He's definitely, and he's one of those guys, like you can see, 5'8", 168 on the lower side. He's going to need to grow into his NFL body a little bit, but I think he's got it. Of course, Ainias Smith, I think he dealt with some injuries for the Eagles. Drafted 5th round, 153 by the Philadelphia Eagles. Really strong wide receiver. Did some punt and kick return in college. 56.7 overall grade on 37 snaps. Again, I think he had dealt with injury issues at the beginning of the season, but I think he was supposed to be doing some punt kick return duties for the Eagles. And a lot of my wide receivers, because again, late round guys, they've got to be able to add to special teams, and you're kind of seeing that on a lot of these guys. Anthony Gold, drafted 5th round, 143 by the Indianapolis Colts, 56-point overall grade on 11 snaps, so not doing a lot. But again, doing some kick return duties, and that's what a lot of my draft special guys had to be able to do. Had to be able to play on special teams as well. Jaquan Jackson was another guy, knew nothing about him. Pure combine guy. Saw him at the combine. I was like, this guy is like a little tiny. I was like, he looks kind of like a running back, to be 100% honest with you. But I really liked what I saw out of him. He was strong with his running. I liked what I saw out of his pass catching. I was so excited for this guy. He was not liked in mock drafts. I saw him dropping down boards left and right, talking about being undrafted like Jalen was. Tennessee took a shot on him in the 6th round, pick 183. Only played 42 snaps, but 70.5 overall grade. He's handling kick return and punt return duties, and he's the 33rd overall punt returner in the NFL. So getting a pretty good shot at it. And I mean, Tennessee does not have much quarterback play going on. And of course, with DeAndre on his way leaving them, open up possibly some more attempts. Really excited to see what the young Tulane kids got. Ryan Flournoy ended up drafted 6th round by the Dallas Cowboys. He's got a 60.4 overall grade on 102 snaps, 77.1 run blocking grade, which so doing his part in the run blocking game. Really excited to see that. I mean, that's why if you can see that's why we include stuff like the bench. Bench should somewhat translate to run blocking, especially when it's not in the trenches. Just manhandle somebody, But it's not all about that because a lot of coaching into that, and a lot of it's also like mentality more than I'd say it's more mentality than coaching and numbers. It's a certain type of mindset. You're hungry for it. And of course, with Dak Prescott going down, CD, all the injuries going on over there, hopefully he'll get to see some more snaps as the season goes on. Hang on, guys. We're almost there. Offensive line split between offensive tackles and interior offensive line. Patrick Paul drafted 2nd round, 55th by the Miami Dolphins, 54.8 overall grade, but 64.0 on his pass blocking, which is what he was known for in college. Only had 64 snaps, but of course he's sitting behind Teron Armstead, one of the best tackles in the league for Miami down there. I think Miami drafted him 2nd with plans to use him more for the future. Maybe as the replacement eventually to Teron. And, 64.0 pass blocking, not terrible. Of course, 49er fans know all about him. Dominic Pooney, one of the guys, absolutely. A lot of the O linemen for me were 3rd round locks. Like Pooney, no way you ever let Pooney leave the 3rd round. And I think we talked about that during the draft special. I felt the same way about guys like Patrick Paul, maybe 4th round, but we saw him go 2nd. Late 3rd round, Dominic Pooney comes off the board, 87th to the San Francisco 49ers. They move him to right guard, which was common among a bunch of guys. 80.8 overall grade on 662 snaps. That is, I believe, is the most among the entire draft class, both sides of the ball. He's, of course, the 1st overall rookie guard, and he's the 8th overall guard in the league. Absolutely nailed this pick. And I think that's what a lot of 49er fans wanted last year, was them to use a 3rd round pick just like this, and they could have ended up with a pretty damn good player on the right side of the line as well. Broke my heart, Christian Jones. Now, we talked about that Texas offensive line. Christian Jones was actually like the 4th best offensive lineman on that Texas offensive line. Super talented. Really excited to see if some of those guys come out this year. He was drafted 5th round, 162 by the Arizona Cardinals. I really think they had plans on him to start at right tackle, or at least be in that competition. However, he started the season IR, but I think he just got his practice window activated. So I haven't looked at Arizona's offensive line play, but if they're having some issues at right tackle, this kid might come into the mix here in the next few weeks, which could be a game changer, especially for their run blocking. Javon Foster, really like this kid. This was a guy like 4th, 5th round, ended up being a 4th round pick. 114 by the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's, of course, sitting behind their starting left tackle, Walker Little. Really hasn't got any snaps in there, but might be a guy that they're more grooming for the future, just like the Dolphins. Delmar Glaze. This was one of the surprise picks for me. I'm going to be honest. I didn't have Delmar coming off the board until like round 5 or 6. Might have been my 7th round guy. Like, he was the last guy I added to my special. There was a lot of guys I was flip-flopping in between here in this spot, but I eventually settled on him. Raiders ended up taking him in the 3rd round, 77th. Definitely was a huge reach for me. But it not terrible. 58.0 overall grade on 517 snaps. He's playing a lot of snaps over there. I think starting, actually. He's the 60th overall tackle, which again, 2 tackles per team, 64. Technically, he's barely a starting caliber tackle, but it counts. And of course, the bad quarterback and running back play over there can't help his grades as well. So he got drafted higher than I expected, but he's actually playing a little better than I expected. He was one of the guys that I thought might need to develop a year. Interior offensive line, again, looking pretty good. Cooper Beebe, drafted 3rd round, 73 by Dallas Cowboys. They moved him to center, which a lot of people thought they might. Actually, does he have more snaps than Pooney? He does, just by like a few. 62-point overall grade on 694 snaps, the most among the rookie center. So he's got more than 100 snaps more than any other rookie center in this class. He's actually rated as the 22nd overall center in the NFL. To get a starting center in the 3rd round that's playing mid-tier, solid. And again, one of those guys, 3rd round, man, I'm not going to lie. If I was a GM, I'd have somehow tried to work out like probably 3 to 5 picks in the 3rd round just for offensive linemen this year. I always have absolute faith that I can find myself some running backs between rounds 4 and 6. Same thing with wide receivers. Round 3 for me, generally, is all about either corners, well, I should say defensive backs, edge rushers, and linemen. 1st and 2nd round, best player available. Usually 3rd round, I'm telling you, you got to get your defensive backs, your linemen, and your edge rushers. Run stuffing interior defensive linemen, oh yeah, you can find those so many in the 5th and 6th rounds all day. 4th round, you're looking for running backs, wide receivers, mostly I feel like. I don't know, man. It's just how every draft falls, but generally I feel like they kind of fall in that order. Mason McCormick, one of the guys, not a 3rd round guy for me, probably would have been a 5th round. Steelers took him 4th round, 120, 57.5 overall grade, but a 61.8 on his pass block snaps on 508 snaps. That's a lot of snaps too. He's the 3rd overall rookie guard and 57th overall, so not bad for a rookie, but definitely they want him to improve. Of course, Tanner Bordolini, drafted 4th round, 118 by the Colts. He's playing him at center. As you can see, actually my picture's blocking it. He played right tackle, left guard, center. It was one of my favorite things about him. He could play a little bit of everything. 65.2 overall grade on 294 snaps. He's the 15th ranked overall center in the league. So, again, for a 4th round pick, that's great. Bukes Limmer, one of the guys that was thrust into his starting job because, the injuries among the Rams. Drafted 6th round, 218 by the LA Rams. 63.5 overall grade. He's had some pass block struggles with 54.3. But again, what were we drafting him for? As it says right there in our special. He's the 3rd run overall center. Very low on his pass protection. Dude has struggled since college in pass protection. I could have told you that. But if you were looking for a run grader, 69.3 run grade this year on 545 snaps. He's the 20th overall ranked center, so not playing bad. And again, if you're trying to run the ball, that's what he was drafted for. And just look at him in that picture, dude. He looks like he would just maul you. He actually had his best grading years as the draft special, my picture is covering it, as a right guard. And yes, he can play center, but I feel like if you have a certain system, he could be a mauler. Jalen Sundell, apparently I forgot to do the update on him, so my apologies on that. Matt Lee, one of my favorite centers, drafted 7th round, 238 by the Cincinnati Bengals. He's got a 61.2 overall grade on 11 snaps, so hasn't played a lot of football over there in Cincinnati. but we'll be keeping an eye on him maybe next year. And of course, one of the things we were trying to focus on a lot was trying to find FCS guys as well. Donnie Ventrelli, undrafted, he ended up signing with the Montreal Alouettes in the CFL League. The Alouettes are 12-5 this season. I don't think he's playing really, but good to know, right? But let me see here. With that, we've worked through the special. That's about all I really wanted to do. Nobody here, nobody watching, nobody cares. Doesn't matter how good. David's here gambling. Overall, my draft special this past year, not too bad, honestly. Some of the guys snuck up in the second round, which only one I really agreed with. I mean, we had a few guys last year that did the same. There are, of course, guys that we missed, but our guys aren't playing bad on the limited snaps that they're seeing. We, of course, nailed some of the picks. David says, I care. David, I may or may not be there for tonight's show, by the way. Less than 24 hours notice we're going to have to do some overnight work here soon. So we'll see, right? It's crazy how it OBS on the YouTube thing says 5 people watching, but then on my actual thing it says concurrent viewers 0. David says, seen the draft special and thought you plan on missing the playoffs? I know, right? No, not planning on missing the playoffs, but wanted to do almost like a mid-season follow-up on all of my draft special guys from last year. Of course, we're planning on doing another draft special this year, just like we did. It's one of those ones I joke I'm going to, whenever I put in my resume this year, which I need to do it really soon, with NFL teams and apply for coaching internships and stuff like that. I'm going to, of course, submit my draft specials and draft reviews and stuff like that. And, it's, what else can I do? It's just one of those ones I talk about it with my girlfriend. I'm like, I would love to be an NFL scout. But let's be honest. One, I currently do not have the educational background that they prefer. And I also do not have the tenured job experience that they would like. And to be 100% honest, I don't have time. I don't have 20 years to grind at almost no pay to finally get there and be even considered for the job to start. So have to try to go about it unconventional ways. There's a clip. Let me see here. Everyone's talking about it. I think I have it saved. Hold on one second. I'm going to pull this clip up probably. Yeah, I'm not in StreamYard. It's harder to do. And it's basically talking about how in the Giants offseason, there was one guy on that couch having those conversations with the GM of the Giants, and he's like, are you sure no one's going to pay Saquon that much? Like, how sure? Like, trying to be that voice of reason in that room. But, of course, he was one of the youngest guys. And, like, everyone talks about in the comments of the video, everyone's like, everyone blew him off because he was the youngest guy. And it's a gatekeeping style of mentality. And as someone that grew up in the South, man, I dealt with it my entire life. You can't tell a good old boy nothing. Everything he did was better, bigger, louder, brighter, everything. And it's something eventually every child goes through it. Like, people don't realize there was a certain generation that grew up with way more information. I used to joke, we live in the age of information. Ignorance is a choice. You can Google any question you have and get an answer within 5 seconds. Me and David knows I was born before Google, man. Google wasn't a thing when I was growing up. You didn't have information. And of course, now there's so much misinformation out there because that's just how I mean, not experiment, but just everything goes in a certain sense anyway. So, there was a certain generation that eventually had way more knowledge because of their prowess with technology than their previous generation, and that never sat well with them. Um, you know, and it's one of those when you can't tell me nothing. Yeah, and I made sure to do the picks. I tried to make sure I did it on the sheet like I was supposed to this time, and I'm just glad I've been able to get through with my neck not being destroyed. Oh, it's almost gym time. Oh, today's upper body. I'm thinking about trying my max on my bench press, honestly. I joked to the girlfriend, I'm like, you know what, man, I'm finally almost back at like my 225 bench press weight. And I joked with her, I was like, my goal is, of course, just to get that 225 as my rep weight, and I'm probably never going to go over 225. Maybe 250 max, but I'll never go over 250. My goal is to get that rep weight for the combine, basically. Because I joked with her, I was like, you don't understand, for my height, weight, size combo, just me being able to knock out like 10 to 12 reps at 225 would put me in a pretty high tier at the combine. I want to go run again so bad. I haven't been able to, like, my gym's only like 20 yards long, basically. It's like a square shape. And so I can't run like more than 20 yards. And I can tell when I'm doing my drills, I'm faster. I'm definitely faster than I was like a month or two ago. That 5 to 10 pounds of muscle that I put on in the past 2 months it's definitely starting to show. And I'm definitely starting to feel like that increase. And I've been weighing myself like every time I go to the store, they have like this highly calibrated machine essentially for weighing weight. And I make sure I always get on it, and check my numbers and see how I'm doing. And like I said, over the past like month or two, I've put on like 5 to 10 pounds of muscle. And I definitely haven't lost my speed yet with it, which is, Captain joking. Huge fan, already a sub. Honest opinion on Shador. I mean, dude balls out. Like, a lot of people hate on Dion, Don't get me wrong, I sometimes don't like what Colorado does, but there are so many times where Dion does exactly what he should do, like not only as a coach but as a father and a great man. So I like Shador. Travis Hunter is a beast. There's supposedly every time the Raiders have lost, Shador tweets out like thank God or something like that. So there's a lot of speculation that Shador and Dion are headed up over yonder, a little west to Vegas after this season. Which I mean, I'd buy into. I'd 100% buy into it. There's talks about Dallas starting to tank, though. There's New York. I think people are starting to think about tanking for him. I just hope he goes to a good organization. But I think he's got talent. He's got talent, man. There's no question about that. Oh yeah, Captain. Would he have said? You think he should have been ahead of May if he came out in 2024? Oh yeah, May was one of those guys. He had the arm. I'll be honest though, I cannot trust a UNC quarterback, man. For those that don't know, like case in point, John Gruden, when he used to do the quarterback camps, literally hid the fact. He cut this and only released it after the draft. Who was it? What it was? Oh my God, he went to Chicago, but the kid didn't know what a hard count was. So, if for those that don't know the clip I'm talking about, he went and was like, all right, he's 4th and 1, yeah, short yard, give me that hard count. And he sat there, he got under center, and he called the play, and then he did his, his fake hard for the hard count, but it was like hut. And then he just sat there and waited and waited. And then did what he hears on TV, and then hut. And it's like that's not a fucking hard count. Like that. And Gruden was just sitting back in his chair staring at this kid like he's about to be drafted in the first round and he doesn't know what a fucking hard count is. Like, so ever since that, I have never trusted a UNC quarterback. Now, May is looking a little better. He definitely has arm talent, but and it's not like a kid can't break a curse. Like, case in point, I've never trusted an Ohio State quarterback. And then CJ Stroud came out. And you can ask everyone, when CJ Stroud was coming out, CJ Stroud was my... Like, bro, I didn't even cover first-round quarterbacks because I was like, they're good. They're fine. Don't even need to worry about them. Like, but I would have taken Shedeur over May. Absolutely. It's just one of those ones. He provides a different aspect to the game. He brings a different life to the franchise, which I think the franchise desperately needed in New England. New England needed swagger for their free agents. May doesn't bring that swagger yet. And unless May finishes as like offensive rookie of the year, you might find it might be harder to recruit free agents, where I think like Shedeur could like legitimately just bring free agents by his natural attitude and swagger. But good questions, my guy. Good questions. I applied for coaching internships with the Colts last year. I think the Texans. Any place where I found an NFL team that had a coaching internship that I could apply for, I went and applied for. I applied for jobs with the Miami Dolphins. I applied for jobs with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I, of course, submitted my resume to the Baltimore Ravens to try to get into the scouting department. I feel like there's a few. I think I might even applied for the New England Patriots organization as well. Jalen Polk, solid, my man. That entire wide receiver core from Washington was extremely talented. There's no losers out of all three of the guys. McMillan, Polk, and Adunze, all winners. So I absolutely love him. He's going to continue to grow. He's got great route running prowess. And I think whenever they get another wide receiver threat, I think it will definitely make him even that much more dangerous when he has like a real number one guy beside him. Maybe he can grow into the number one, but different organizations do things different ways. Case in point, the Baltimore Ravens got rid of their official internships and stuff like that for certain departments, such as the scouting department. So the only way to actually apply to be a scout for the Ravens is to just submit your resume to their employment department and hope to God that someone sees it and gives you a shot. Things like the Colts, actually through their website, you can find stuff like internships for like coaching and stuff like that. And then like for the Dolphins and the Buccaneers, it was actually for like non-football positions, actually. Just me trying to get my foot in the door locally with anything, man, anything. Just so I know how it goes, man. I just got to get my foot in the door. I'll make my lateral movement from there. I'll be working game day staff. Levi, why are you here 5 hours early? Because I want to help set up off the clock. So I can go spend time over there watching how they do this and pick that medical staffer's brain. It's kind of funny, actually. One of the things I've been thinking about doing lately is I've been thinking about there's a gym near me that actually does like NFL training. Like they have John Simpson, who's now the guard for the Jets that was on the Ravens last year. He actually is like endorses them and trains with them, and his like picture and draft status and all that stuff are up there. with like a few other guys. So I thought about seeing maybe if I could convince them to like help me do a video, basically like show up, film them putting me through like an NFL because they have like a 40-yard like little field inside and stuff like that. Basically like them putting me through an NFL style combine workout, like from, you know, circle and edge drills to bag work to 40s, 10s, cone drills, you know, just my broad jump, my vertical jump, everything across the board. Like, and of course, I was hoping to get them to do it for free and then like just market the living shit out of them. Like, you know, plug like crazy and maybe even plug for like the rest of the season somehow. I think it would make like a good content style video. I've also been wanting to try to see if I can still kick. We talked about when I played semi-pro, man, I was kicking 40-yard field goals barefoot. And I had the leg for 50s, but I kept pulling to the right because I honestly, growing up, even though I played soccer, I never played kicker or punter for any football team. I wanted to play other positions. I was good enough to want to play other positions. You know, definitely not going to say I was starting at every position. That's like I'm gonna tell you right now, your boy cannot play quarterback. I don't know what it is. I just don't have that natural thing, man, for quarterback play. Uh, but I want to do a video, and I keep talking about it, man. But I just got to go spend some money. I got to go get a kicking tee and at least one ball, man. It's gonna suck every time I kick a ball 40 yards, having to run and go get it. It'd be better if at least I could get like 3. What I'd love is see if I could get like a coach at some, you know, uh, place around here just to like lend me some and like give me the okay to go on the field and all that. But all right, guys, I got to wrap this up. It's workout time. Like I said, it's upper body day. I'm thinking about testing my max on my bench press. I'm definitely behind on my calorie goal for today, unfortunately. It's because I drank a soda earlier and then my stomach was all messed up. And I was like, I can't eat like cereal right now. It's one of my go-tos lately. I have a big bowl of cereal that's heavy on like calories and carbs. And then I have a big old glass of chocolate milk right behind it. And that's where I've been stuffing like 400 to 600 calories in real quick. Actually, I could probably get like 700 calories in that little shot real quick. Depends on how much cereal and how big of a glass of chocolate milk. I love my betting is still open, even though I 100% closed it and settled that. Gotta love it, right? But all right, guys, I gotta go get my workout in. I'll catch y'all later. I might be live later with the Corey Davis lockdown picks on David McNiner's channel with a bunch of other great content creators for the 49ers, Eagles. I think we have some other team people on there as well, but you know, a lot of different content creators. We are planning to do fantasy football tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so same time as today. I have, however, canceled all of my non-Raven football game calls for the rest of the season, just based off, you know, health problems I'm having and, you know, other issues. If I don't go live tonight, we basically got called into work. I got 24 hours notice of, you know, big stuff we have to do. And yeah, of course, Ravens taking on Chargers. I think it's Monday night game. I haven't even redone my calendar yet. I'm supposed to have a preview show with Locked On Chargers. I've got to message him to see if we're still on for it and set up a day, hopefully, if he has time still. But make sure you come back, hit that like, subscribe button, check it out, and we're going to go ahead and get on out of here. Darwin's out.